Brightest blessings, everyone. And I've been hearing a lot um, about two propositions since the election, going back and forth and bantering why they actually passed. And the propositions I'm speaking of, they have to do with gay marriage. Now, in California, that was Proposition 8 that passed, and in Arizona, that was Proposition 102. Now, if you ask me, I come from California. I was born and raised in California. And I know how people think. And I do have plenty of friends and family still in California. And a lot of people I spoke to weren't really sure that if a yes or no vote would favor gay marriage or not. So you have some people that were actually confused on that. And propositions in all states are notorious for that. When you're voting for a proposition, you can't just take someone's word. You can't be lazy. You have to read, people. And I'm not saying Californians are lazy. I'm saying Americans are lazy ass readers. You have to read and you have to figure it out for yourself. Now, another thing a lot of people were misinformed about is they were saying that if you voted no on Proposition 8, which would be in favor of gay marriage, that there would be a lot of things happening that just aren't true, such as if Proposition 8 had failed and it was in favor of gay marriage, then churches would be forced to marry homosexual couples, even though Christianity and Christian churches do not believe that that is correct, and there should be no gay marriage. Now, that's the biggest piece of crap I've heard in I don't know how long. Nowhere in that proposition does it state that churches that do not accept homosexual marriage would be forced to marry homosexuals. They are not forced to marry anybody. No church would be forced to marry two Muslims. They recognize that two Muslims married in a Muslim temple are married, but they're not forced to marry them themselves, nor would they be forced to marry a Jewish man and a Jewish woman in a Christian church. They can't do that, and they never will have to. So, unfortunately, contrary to Christian belief, not everybody in the United States of America is Christian. And I've got news for you, Christians. Not every religion that is represented in the United States of America believes that gay marriage is a bad thing. Such as in my religion, it does not encourage gay marriage, nor does it discourage gay marriage. They see gay marriage no different than heterosexual marriage. And you can get married in my religion and others. So if you recognize a Jewish man and a Jewish woman married in the Jewish temple as married, even though you yourself did not marry them in the Christian church under the Christian God, and you recognize a Muslim man and a Muslim woman that was married in a Muslim temple as married, even though you don't agree with them and you don't believe in Allah, and they were married in the eyes of Allah, then why can't you accept a marriage in a church or a temple of a religion that does not agree with yourself, of two men or two women, as legal? Also, what about a man and a woman that are atheists, that are married in a civil service, in a courtroom, in a courthouse? You recognize their marriage, so why can't homosexuals get married in a courtroom or in a courthouse and have it legally recognized? Another thing that was wrong is that if Proposition 8 passed, that they would be teaching small children about how to have gay sex. Again, stupidest thing I've heard in a long time. You know, when they start teaching about families in in school, they don't teach right off, especially if they're just talking about heterosexual families, how to have a sexual act, how to have sex. No, they don't teach you that. So why would they teach you that about the homosexuals? They wouldn't, because it wouldn't make any sense. Where it does make sense is if they teach that it's okay and normal in higher grades, such as junior high and high school, because that is when the hormones are raging, that is when you are having sexual urges, and most likely if you're homosexual or bisexual at all, you're going to have some sort of clue. And I cannot tell you how many teenagers and preteens end up committing suicide because they don't hear that it's normal, and they don't hear that it's okay, and so they end up committing suicide. When are we going to start being there for our teenagers? We need to start being there for our teenagers. You know, I've said it once and I've said it again, and I'll say it again even more. Homosexuals are not sitting there snapping their fingers in San Francisco, walking down the San Franciscan streets and Florida and all the East Coast cities with assless chaps and feather boas. That's a very low percentage of the gay population. Most people you wouldn't even know. They're your neighbors. They are your friends. They are your family, mother, father, daughter, son, cousins, whatever. They are your bosses. They are your teachers, customer service agents, ditch diggers. They are your employees. They are everywhere, and they are everyone of every faith, every color, and every race, and every creed. We do not want to march into churches and take them over and say, you must marry us, even though in the eyes of your church, my marriage is wrong. I don't care if your church recognizes a marriage or not, but I do care if the law does. And I don't understand why the Mormon church was pouring billions of dollars in the campaigns on Yes on 102 and Yes on 8. The Mormon church is a tax-exempt church, and any tax-exempt church or temple or any religious thing that is tax-exempt should keep their nose out of politics. Yeah, so if you don't pay taxes, then you need to shut the fuck up when it comes to anything political. And if you can't, then you need to start paying your taxes. Alright? Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Blessed be.